Cookie Monster is back, and I'm not really all that thrilled about it. I'm happy to see that most of my concerns with the move were echoed by the fan base at large, and that's really poor Mike Mangini. I think the guys in Dream Theater are top-notch people along with top-notch musicians, and they've proven that time and time again, so I won't say that they lack integrity, but I just think this is a move that lacks integrity, especially that they went back on their word if you read articles from years past that we're going to look at here. Plus, they've done something very similar to this in the past with one of their past members, which we'll talk about. This is going to be a little bit different of an episode, very minimal editing, just because I want to get something out there given the big news. Plus, we haven't uploaded since May or something like that. This is kind of like the old school first episodes that we did that were about nothing, but they were very free-form podcast style, like the Whatever Podcast or something. One thing that would be very interesting to know, leave your answer in the comments. Where were you when you heard the big news? I was at work in the middle of leaving a voicemail for someone, and I sounded like I was having a stroke on the phone when I saw that really shitty graphic pop up on my screen. They pulled up a very interesting graphic, which I guess they might have fired their graphics guy at the same time that they fired Mike Mangini, because I don't like, this is not the best way. This is not the best way to dispel any notion that this is a hoax. That might have been Mike Portnoy's phone background for the last 7 or 8 years. He like cries every night and jerks off to it. As far as the music goes, I'm excited. So that's the one. I'll give you that. As far as the music goes, I think this is exactly what they needed. And at the end of the day, I understand it's a business decision. And as far as business decisions go, A++. There is not a better business decision that they could have made short of resurrecting Neil Peart and getting him to join.
I'm actually excited because, I love Mike Mangini, great guy. He's a phenomenal drummer. His technicality's off the charts. He writes good stuff. Obviously on skill level, they're about the same. Maybe Mike Mangini a little more, I don't know, you could argue. But in terms of creativity, I think Mike Port, besides Cookie Monster lyrics, of course, get that out of the way. In terms of, drum creativity, writing drums, parts, I've always felt Mike Portnoy has a little more flair, a little more interest, a little more bite to his drums than Mike Mangini did.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, and I think that's basically unanimous, and that's why there were a lot of people going crazy over it. But I'm surprised to see that a lot of people agree with us on the biggest thing for me was poor Mike Mangini, one of the nicest guys in the music industry, just gets the absolute shaft here. It would be one thing if he came out and his statement read, oh yeah, well, it was a joint decision, I'm doing the solo album, it was great to do it for this many years, I want to move on to something else, or hey, I got this gig in some other band. It was pretty clear from his statement that they just asked him to leave, which is really unfortunate because it shows that they went back on their word here. I have an article from beginning of last year. John Petrucci shoots down possibility of Mike Portnoy returning to Dream Theater. I've been very vocal and outspoken about this. And that stuff we are doing together is my solo stuff, with Liquid Tension Experiment, with Mike touring with me. This is its own thing, and Dream Theater is its own thing, and that's the history we have now with Mike Mangini in the band for 12 years is important to me to make sure that people do not misunderstand this, because it's not good for anybody. That kind of weirdness or controversy, as we all know, is just toxic. And now here we are.
He must have gotten a little taste of Mike Portnoy's, writing when he was doing the solo stuff with him, or the group stuff with him, up away from Dream Theater, and he was like, what if this was back to Dream Theater?
Like I said, they're all super good guys, but it just lacks, it's a move that lacks integrity rather than them having no integrity. And unfortunately, this is not the first time that they've done exactly this. If you remember Derek Sherinian back in 1997, 1998, everyone knows, but they got rid of him basically just because he was not Jordan, was his crime. That's why he got fired. The exact same thing happened, and he admitted so in an interview sitting right next to Mike Portnoy. But they asked him, did you see it coming? He said, I did not see it coming. Now listen straight up, if I was effing up or missing my routines, or if I was drunk or whatever, I would be the first one to own it like a man and say, you know what, I wasn't giving him my best. But honestly, I was winning reader polls. Their record, Falling Into Infinity, sounded great. My playing has improved by 500% from the time I joined the band, and I'm also a Berkeley guy. Honestly, I did not see it coming. It was like someone came up behind me and socked me right in the stomach. Derek Sherinian is not Mike Mangini, so it's a little bit different of a situation. As a matter of fact, that probably makes it worse, because at least Derek Sherinian was kind of not, as far as personality wise, he wasn't a fit in the band because they're all Berkeley nerds. And I think he said he went to Berkeley here too. I didn't know that until I just read that. But Derek Sherinian was very much into the kind of rock star lifestyle. You can find different articles that mention the same thing. He had these weird lava lamps on stage. He just wasn't like the other four guys. Whereas Mike Mangini, I thought was possibly even better of a fit than Mike Portnoy, even though he's one of the founding members of the band, just because he's just like all the other guys, super humble, super nice.
I did think it was interesting in John Petrucci's post on Instagram when he was talking about the departure of Mike Mangini after announcing Mike Portnoy coming back. The way he worded it in terms of Mike leaving, like, you know, oh, we've made great albums together, and we've had, like, the way he said it was like, we've had good talks and we've shared stuff here and there, but it almost came off as more of like acquaintancy rather than friend. But I wonder if there was some level of also like not as much hanging out afterwards like they would do with Portnoy, just because they grew up together.
And that's why it would make it so tough for, not that he would have any say even if he said no, that's why it makes it so tough just to say no to that request. It's like, hey, I think what's his name, Become the Night, Mike the Music Snob said it best. It's like, hey, our one of the best drummers on the planet, founding member and longtime friend of ours wants to come back into the band, so goodbye. You can't really object to that.
Even if he like didn't say a word, went behind the drum kit and just played like the earth-shattering like world record drum solo, which he
has, actually.
Which he has. They would have probably applauded him and said, anyway, Mike's here. He's unpacking his bags. You know, luckily we don't have to change the nameplates around because you guys have the same name. So if you could just take your suitcase. I mean, just in the bands I've done on a small, extremely massively small scale, this is a world-class selling band. The decision to remove somebody from the band and replace them with someone you like more, whether because of their personality, their chemistry, Rush, or because of their playing style.
Just imagine it.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah.
The decision happens very quickly and very swiftly. It's very like almost like Greek or Roman political points where like everybody just kind of like turns against somebody instantly. And it's kind of crazy how it happens on the small scales in my band in my local area, and then massive world scale bands. It is crazy.
Going back to the music side, changing now with this new addition, will we see a return of the Cookie Monster vocals, the awful lyrics, and toxic, just like he said in this article, the toxicity, System of a Down, that Portnoy, unfortunately, and it's just a reality, brings to the band. I think as far as the Cookie Monster vocals goes, I hope that he's learned his lesson. He's got a huge backlash for them, so I don't think we'll have any more attempted death metal vocals. At least I pray to God. He didn't have any in Sons of Apollo or any of the other 35,000 projects that he tried to start after Dream Theater. Lyrics, they're always been kind of shit, so that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's unless they get John Myung to write all the lyrics for this next album, which I would doubt it. Encourage. I would very much encourage.
Encourage, but doubt strongly. And then he remember another reason why this reunion was put off for so long is because he had this huge beef with, my boss is calling me, I can't answer right now, James Labrie.
James? Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I know they took the picture recently and they said they buried the hatchet, especially given that James is not anywhere near in the singing condition that he was when Mike left the band, and that was one of the big gripes that Mike Portnoy had with him. Plus, he's had these episodes right after they released Dramatic Turn of Events. Portnoy had some signing. It was just a solo signing. Some guy shows up with the album shirt on, and he just loses his mind because some guy was wearing a Dream Theater shirt that he didn't happen to play on.
Yeah.
Now he's going to end up having to play that exact same album on tour.
I think maybe Mike Portnoy he'll probably just be extremely ecstatic to be part of the band again, and he himself might even be surprised that they told Mike Mangini to pack his bags and leave. He might be like, wow, they really did miss me. They really did want me back for this writing. I need to be on my best behavior. I did see on some of the YouTube comments, one of the top comments were saying, oh, awesome, now we just need to get a keyboardist like Kevin Moore. And I talked to you about that a little bit too. Jordan's great, he's amazing, but I think I think he needs to just like stop suffering from boredom syndrome and like playing all these crazy wacky stuff and do more melodic, like I don't know, like supportive pieces rather than noodling, but one step at a time.
Hey, you know what?
Like,
I checked. So I have some good news. I checked the Trinity Health webpage, and he no longer has a profile on there. So Dr. Kevin Moore may be in the past. He may be looking for a job. I don't know. Maybe they'd consider it.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
In closing summary, excited musically, a little disappointed on the way things unfolded. You know, if Mike Mangini comes out and clarifies and says, yeah, it was a mutual decision, I also wanted to leave because X, Y, and Z. It changes everything. Changes this whole thing. Excited for the music. I tend to agree with you. I think he learned his lesson from the 13 years he was outside of the band. Sees that he has something good here and is going to be on his best behavior, at least for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to album number 16.
I am very excited to have Mike Portnoy back for his writing. Again, Mike Mangini's amazing drummer, great guy, but creatively I like a little more what Mike Portnoy does. Let's hope he's on his best behavior. I think it's going to be awesome.
Agreed. A little bit of an update on what we're doing. Yes, we haven't uploaded since May. We have 4 videos right now in the pipeline. We're working on a 5th coming soon. And it does involve Dream Theater Month, so get very excited for that. I started a new job, my first real job post-college, so that's why I've had no time to do anything. But we are still working on things. We are still alive and well. Without further bovine excrement, we'll see you next time.